Welcome back, everybody. It's time to take a look at Dragon Age Inquisition. Mike here is going to tell us all about it. Mike, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me.
Let's jump right into it. This is a highly anticipated RPG.
Yeah, we've been, we've been working on it for about 3 years now. And what we're showing today is kind of a condensed version of what we've been showing to people when they come to this booth. Sure. Take a look behind closed doors. One part absolutely in love with it is that we're showcasing kind of the race and the gender choices. What you see there is a Canary, first time we've had them playable in the game, Inquisitor, and it's a female. So we've got the mage class and so on. We've got a ton of different combinations we're showing off to different people at the show.
This looks gorgeous.
Yeah, that was kind of the goal. We got hold of Frostbite 3 and they kind of, the folks at DICE were like, so what would you do with this? And we were like, well, let's see, a place big enough to have jets and tanks and, I don't know, I bet we could probably make some epic fantasy in there. So, lots of dragons. But yeah, the play space you see here, and you can kind of go almost anywhere you can see, is bigger than all of Dragon Age Origins put together in terms of square footage.
Can we expect sort of a combination of Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2?
Yeah, I think that's a fair thing to say. I mean, the big new thing on top of that is the massive space. But as you can see there, Origins allowed you to do kind of the tactical top-down. Sure. That's now on all platforms, not just on the PC. So all players can do it. You can also kind of zoom in and zoom out as you see fit. Run time, resume time, switch characters, all that, which is a very tactical edge. And something that really goes to our goals of teamwork being central to DA. But on top of that, then, for DA2, things are a little faster, they're responsive, you're able to get right into the fray, throw spells very quickly, no 10-minute casting times or anything like that.
Sure. We're seeing a lot of combat here. Is this in the middle of a quest?
Yeah, we're in an area, we're actually making our way to Redcliffe Village, which was a location in Origins. It's totally been rebuilt since the devastation, but we're cutting our way through, and what's happening in this area is that the mages and Templars, one of our running themes, have totally broken away from the Chantry. They're fighting over the location. And our goal as we come through here is eventually to restore peace to the area. And it's part of how we're evolving the world. We have a system called the World Master, kind of like a Game Master, except bigger. Okay. And what it does is dynamically repopulate spaces based on what you've been doing. So if the Mages and Templar fight is still happening, then you will see lots of their combats and for you to fight through them. Also, we have a horse.
I like the horse.
We do have a horse, yeah. I mean, big spaces like this pretty much demanded it, but we went beyond horse. We've got, giant lizards you can ride, and you can collect kind of a whole selection of them and choose which one you prefer.
This is a much more open game than the previous Dragon Age.
It is. That said, what we've done is tried to integrate this open space with the story to make it kind of a part and parcel of the same thing. So fundamentally, as Inquisitor, you're kind of leading from the front. You're like a Joan of Arc figure, depending. You're an inspiration. And so your goal is to build the Inquisition's power by doing things that earn renown, or you actually establish new camps and spread your influence. And as you do that, you spend that power on where the story goes next.
You mentioned the story. What can you tell us about the story?
Well, it really begins with a massive cataclysm. The sky opens up, demons come pouring out of this thing called the Breach. And as that happens, it kills like thousands of people. And the big problem it leaves is that the Chantry, which has kind of been the thing keeping the lid on the pot of Thetis.
Dragon.
Yeah, there's a huge dragon. Completely gets wiped out. Like the leadership's gone. As a result, the Inquisition steps up to fill that void to try and set things right.
We're going to fight this dragon here?
We're going to fight this dragon. We
like
absolutely are. We built the dragons with an all-new system. They now have individual limb targeting. They react differently if their limbs become wounded or damaged. They attack in different arcs. They can fly around the areas. Before, they used to be pretty static. But here, you'll notice she's got someone behind her and doesn't like that.
Yeah, we saw some of this footage yesterday during the conference.
Yes, absolutely. Right. Yeah, the dragon has a ton of different attacks, and ultimately we want you to have to prepare for them. They're basically the top tier combats in the game. And with them, you want to be bringing your dragon slaying swords and your right element weapons and so on, because that'll give you a huge edge.
When we walked into this area, I think it said discovered blood cliffs.
Yep.
So there are different areas that you...
Absolutely.
Once you discover them...
Yeah, so we're in a single region right now. All these jumps here have basically been within what we call the hinterlands. There are also regions that are a massive desert. You get frozen mountaintops. So the game takes you across two different nations, Ferelden and Orlais. You get to visit all kinds of cool locales.
Yeah,
and
I wanted
here
to
we're
see the
seeing this is the haste spell. Gives you a huge advantage because the dragon moves slow, you guys move fast. But it uses a new resource called Focus, which is built via teamwork. It's kind of a shared resource. Gives you a huge edge, lets you do things like wound the dragon's leg. So now it's down and one leg's under it. It can't get up, it can't fight you nearly as effectively. But you can't use those spells just willy-nilly because once they've used up, you can't cast them again. So you have to be pretty tactical and strategic about when you use them.
I was kind of feeling bad for the dragon there for a second.
For just a minute, I mean, the big thing we want to do is make them actually, yes, they're predators, but they are creatures, right? And they have their own pathos and that kind of stuff. That said, it will eat your face, kind of without hesitation, so don't feel too bad.
All right, where are we here?
This takes us inside. We basically jump to a part in the story where we've come to put an end to the mage attacks. We're inside Redcliffe Castle. The mages have taken it over. You can see the breach has grown. We're a little bit later in the game here. And, of course, demons are pouring through. And we can talk about how your character has basically been marked. You've got some sort of weird magic. That's one of the mysteries in the game that you need to inquisit, if you will. And so you can affect these things called rifts. Demons are pouring out of them. They basically represent a fundamental instability in the world. If you can kill the demons guarding them, you can close them. And this is partly why you become Inquisitor, because you can do something no one else can do. And everyone has to at least respect that.
We're getting a look at how varied the environments are.
Yeah.
As we jump from area to area, they all look totally different from each other.
And this is really the tip of the iceberg. In this part, we're in a little bit more story heavy. It's almost like a mix of an indoor-outdoor dungeon, but again, you're going to be going all over the place and seeing all kinds of cool locales, each with their own kind of challenges and themes. Coming up, we're going to talk a little bit about tactical combat. So far we've shown a little bit of it, but you'll see it in the fight coming up. We got a nice mix of story and kind of combat going on here, because really, some people are worried, did you just make an only open world game? But really, big story moments, big hooks, stuff to get your emotions going. And here we have the female Inquisitor, and she's alongside Dorian, who's a follower we brought with us. He's from the Tevinter Imperium. He's a member of the Magisterium, and he kind of hates what his country's turning into. They're all turning into the bad guys. He wants to put a stop to that, so he joins the Inquisition. Also, bitch and mustache.
I like that, yeah.
Yeah, and so as we come here, one of the things is that who you bring with you can affect how the story plays out, because Dorian, this is Alexius, he studied under Alexius, so they have kind of that history, and so you'll see different stuff happen in the dialogues and story based on who you have. So here we get into the tactical stuff. When you're playing, you can use it to just get information and kind of zoom around, but what we're doing here is issuing orders. You control the whole party, you can get your statistical upgrades, and then you can either return to real time and they'll carry those orders out, or if you want to play that way all the time, you can enter what we call engage mode. And that lets you just advance time, stop it again, issue new orders. You can play it very, very tactically, almost like a board game or like your classic XCOM. We want to give players really the option to play their way, however you think is cool.
We're going to win here.
I think this one's in the bag. An axe to the face will do that.
What's happening here in the scene?
Bring the demo to a close on a bit of a cliffhanger. We have your followers saying, oh geez, we don't have a lot of time. We have a spell we have to cast tied to the amulet. Don't want to spoil too much about it. Sure. The nice thing about a big game is you don't have to spoil too much of the story when you demo it. And I've already seen a lot,
and you've only shown a little.
Oh yeah, I've seen a ton of people already kind of like, okay, wait, what does this mean? Trying to figure out what's really going on. But the short version, bad guys are coming. Last stand. Liliana's making her buying you some time at whatever cost. Turns out everybody's buying you some time at whatever cost.
I like this walking stick guy. He looks awesome.
Yeah, that's called basically a terror. They're kind of a lesser demon, but kind of top tier. All of our demons are based on kind of human emotion, so he'd almost be like subservient to a fear demon, that kind of thing.
I see. Is that the end of the demo?
That's it. Smash cut to black.
Very nice, very nice.
More on October 7th. Right?
October 7th. Dragon Age Inquisition is out October 7th. Mike, thanks so much for bringing the game by today.
Yeah, no problem. Really appreciate it.
Gorgeous.
Thank you so much.
Can't wait to play more. Stay tuned. We have lots more big games coming straight at you from E3 2014.